Hello. You're with me in my fiber corner. It's very messy. That's all of my yarn and floss stash, all of my knitting needles, all of everything. Yes. I have my darning over here. Anyway, today is a holiday. So I am off work. Had PT in the morning, and then this afternoon I've just been processing some fleece. So this is the first fleece that I bought. It is a lovely Gotland fleece. It has this wide range of colors. So I'll show you this little baggie that I have prepped. So this is all flicked. And then I'm probably using the wrong words because again, this is my first fleece, but here's the raw fleece. Hope it will actually show you. Anyway, I'm not sure how to do the camera, but it has some lovely variability in color, but if you can see, it is also filled with some VM for sure, just lots of little burrs and such. I'll bring this down here and you can see the little trash can that I'm combing these into. I have the fleece that I scoured is here, and then I am just opening up the locks and then using these dog combs actually to sort of pull the fibers apart and sort of straighten them and align them, and it's just filled now with all of, and my computer is now covered also with the little bits of VM and little bits of lanolin actually that I didn't fully get out with my scour, which is kind of nice that it's coming out in the open. But yeah, I have this whole bag. This is a very small portion of the fleece. The whole fleece was 3.7 pounds, and I did maybe 1/6 of that for my first scour. Anyway, I have a bunch of waste, small bits, that I've been collecting in a little cottage cheese container, cleaned cottage cheese container. But I have quite a lot of it, and I wanted to just do a little experiment with you and myself, like you and I could just do this right quick, since I have time today. So I do not have cards. You saw the combs that I'm using are for brushing dogs, like dog grooming. So what I do have, back in February when my spinning journey started, my family got me a blender board, and you can see what I'm starting to do on it a little bit. So I just have this one card, which actually is more like another dog brush, but works as a card, and then my blending board. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, I'm going to put this other in my ear. I know this is so not exciting for you to watch because I'm fumbling around, but thanks for being there. I just wanted to share my experiment. So I'm going to load this waste because I would love to be able to use every little bit of this fleece. So I'm loading it onto the carder, or onto the hand card, until it's sort of full. Then I'm going to smear that across the blender board. So I'm going to fill this. Normally would fill it from the bottom up, and I would just go across. So I'm going to leave that there. Okay. And I'm going to do this probably multiple times. I will, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of fiber prep content as I am prepping my fibers, as one does naturally. I'm watching people do the same exact thing that I am doing because it's what I enjoy doing. So, on a drum carder to make bats, I have seen people will do like multiple passes on their drum carder. And so I'm thinking, instead of making a roll lag and taking a roll lag off of this blending board, I will instead try to peel the whole thing off as a bat and then blend it again. That does mean, like you can see on here, there's a lot of like variability in the colors. Oh my goodness, I have so much appreciation for how people do this, because this is, if you are a content creator in the fiber space and I'm just so impressed. Kudos for speaking and doing the craft at the same time, which I'm finding is very difficult, and then also working with your camera well to get it to focus on things. Great work all. Okay, I'm gonna finish this blender board and then I will come back so you don't just have to stare at me fumbling around with this blender board. Back in a bit. That took me no time at all. I did want to update you with what I've been doing instead. I changed my method. The method has changed. So similarly to how you would with a blending board, I'm going to move this. Okay, blending board is here. I have my fiber, and I'm actually going to just sort of like pull it down and across like you would with fiber that you are attempting to blend. Like if there are those like kits that you get with a blending board, where they'll have like 20 different colors of roving, and then that is what is used to make your rainbow beautiful Rolex. So I'm just sort of smearing that all, and then I will come in, do this, and then I will also show you how much of the VM, since this is my combing waste, it still has a lot of bits and pieces of the VM in it that is landing on my lap right now as I am dragging the carder through the blender board. And then I want this to be a fairly full roll lag eventually, so I'm just gonna add more to wherever the holes are. Part of me is like itching to apologize right now, because I'm obviously not very experienced at this. Like, this is my first foray into fiber prep. Well, it's not my first foray. I have used this blender board. I made a pair of socks from fiber that I prepped on this board, but that was commercially processed roving that I used. And I have also spun a full spindle of fiber that I prepped from this Gotland fleece. But you know, this I'm not a pro, but I think the only way that I become a pro is by making mistakes, trying things out, and maybe now you will have an idea of what this will turn out to be too. Okie dokie. Blending board is full now. This is as much as I'm going to put on here. I will show you a little closer what this looks like. We'll just set up. And you can see like the variation in the colors of the fleece on here, which is lovely. Then I'm also going to bring this camera down so you can see just how much of that VM. I know that there are much dirtier fleeces out there, but Every time that I work on this, I have to like sweep this chair and all the floor and everything around it. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm gonna pull this off and blend it again. I don't know if this carding experiment will succeed on my blending board, but I have definitely succeeded in making this very dirty. There is so much VM on this, on this now. Oh goodness. Okay. But we now have this off, and I will not say that I succeeded in making a bat, but I did succeed in getting all of it off of there. This is thicker than I would want for a rolag. It's not as tight as I would want it. So we're gonna go ahead and proceed. So, okay, that's bat-like. That is bat adjacent, but it's still too floofy and unkempt for my taste. I am going to do what they do in the videos and split it into a bit and split it again. I will say, with as much lanolin as I left in here from my less than hot enough scour, my hands are so soft right now. My hands are so soft, which is just great. I have so much darning. I have so much darning that is underneath this chair, because I'm always like, oh, this sock has like a hole in the toe. I can't wear this anymore. It is just like so holy. So I'll just throw it in a box that's underneath this chair. And I'm like, yeah, I'll darn that. And then I don't darn it. I put too much in this bat, I think. So I'm gonna put some of that back into the cottage cheese. Okay, so I have filled this. I'm going to pack it in there, and then I am actually getting kind of antsy to try to spin this. So that's what we're gonna do next. So. Don't like how that is, so I'm gonna move it. Okay, I have blended. Now I actually will make a rolag. So if you don't know, which if you are watching this video, you most likely know, or you are my friend, in which case, hi. But a rolag is a bit of fibers that have been prepared on cards. So cards instead of combs. There are many videos available for that. And what we're going to do, I'm going to tilt you down again. We are going to pull this up. Great. Some people will use, a lot of people, most people, generally one would use some sort of stick to make their rolag. I am not doing that here because I'm just trying to go really fast. And I don't particularly feel the need to use a stick. Probably would help me. Alas, here we are. I am pulling and rolling my rolag. Sorry for the noise. But all of those fibers that we laid out flat are now getting rolled up together. And I'm doing this with my hands. You could also do this with a carder, sort of like that, pulling it and tightening it. but it sort of disturbs the edge when I do that because I'm not very good at it. A little more VM. So to spin this, I'm going to, I currently have yarn on my drop spindle. So instead I'm going to use my lace spindle. It is also a drop spindle, but it is much smaller. Ow. Every time. I am blood bonded with my blending board. Okay, so now I have this scrappy looking rolag. So we're gonna see how well this spins. Give me 2 seconds while you observe this rolag. I'm gonna put this stuff away. And we're back. Okay. This is my nice little lace spindle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hook into the fiber, and then I'm just spinning a little bit to get started. Spinning, spinning, spinning. Then I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull it out. This is going to be an interesting experiment, I can already tell. I don't normally use a leader, so I just do that process that I just did, and then I roll straight onto my spindle. And now I am ready to spin. I already have a little nip. I'm just going to pull straight. All right. And because I've been using this tiny spindle for a tassel combed top that I have. For a worsted prep. Well, comb top is worsted prep, but I am spinning at worsted as well. I think I want to do this more long draw. And it is sort of working. Very cool. I am super stoked about that. I am going to spin some more of this and get it more secure on the spindle so I can spin a little bit more of it before I have to stop next time. You can see what I'm doing. Okay. I have been sort of, with the tassel, it's an industrial prep of the fiber, and so I have gotten to where I can drop spin just straight up. I don't have to park and draft. On this spindle in particular, it is somewhat challenging for me because it is so light. So for this little experiment, I probably am just going to stick to park and draft, which makes me feel like a noob. And that's okay. We all have to start somewhere. I just got from the library a book called Respect the Spindle, which I am loving so far. I live in an apartment, so I don't have a lot of space for like large spinning equipment, and so I am trying to do as much as possible on spindles, which I'm like, we did this for thousands of years as humans, you know, just spinning about. And so like I can figure out how to do pretty much anything, I think, on a spindle. It may not be as fast, and that is fine. I have slow hobbies. VM. So much VM. I love these colors. Like, I don't know how they do it on it. There we go. We did it. Just like the marbling of the colors is so pretty to me. This is gonna have a really nice, like I think if I wet set this, it's going to be very floof. It's gonna be floof city. It has all those little bits from the combing waste that are like really short pieces are sticking out. Okay. My spinning is sort of a mixture of a woolen spin and a worsted spin, where I am letting, so I'm spinning it, I'm letting that twist enter all the fibers, and then I am drafting. So I don't know. I don't have too much more to say. I think it seems like success to me. I will go ahead and continue to capture all of my shorter bits. There weren't too many second cuts in the fleece, but there were enough that it's like I do have quite a lot of this waste, and so being able to spin it into something that I can like potentially use is super exciting to me. I don't know, even if it becomes like a waste yarn or something that I use in a different project, that just makes me very excited. The main project that I have in mind for the Gotland fleece is the ransom sweater on Ravelry. Do I have it pulled up? No. It is this cable knit sweater during my time as a knitter. There we go. I have done a lot. I have tried a lot of techniques, but cabling, every time I'm just like, this seems like complicated and maybe not for me, and I want to tackle it head on. And what better way than to do a entire hand knit sweater with hand spun that is nothing but cables. If you look up the ransom sweater, it is the based on, oh, this is so soft. It is based on the white cable sweater that the guy wears in Knives Out. Cables, nothing but cables. And I think this is going to be a very lovely fleece for it. Hopefully I have enough of the Gotland is my only concern. But if I'm able to capture the little bits and bobs like this, then I could use that as one of my plies. See where I'm going? You see where I'm going? Okay, I've done enough jabbering. Thank you for listening to my randomness, and I will get this finished spinning. I will also ply it, and then I will show you the plied results. Hello. So I'm plying this. I finished the single. I actually didn't finish all of that bat, but I am going to be leaving to the gym soon, so I needed to pause on making that single And I actually have never plied on this spindle before, so this is a very interesting experience for me. But I wanted to get this out there, spin it up so that I could see and that you could see how this went. I am loving this yarn. It's so cute. So this is giving me a lot of really good information for spinning, even not the comb waste, but the actual fibers that I am prepping through the combing. When I prep them on the blender board, I've got to really think about what I want to do. I was planning on doing a 3-ply to end up at like a DK or a sport weight. So I was going to use this small spindle for that, but the way that this Gotland is spinning, I don't know that I'm going to have to see how the longer staple length spinning goes, because that'll obviously differ from what I'm doing right here, but it'll be very interesting to see. I'm gonna have to play around, I think. Yeah, if you are a spinner, please actually do write in the comments, do you normally spin all of your project first and then knit? Do you, similarly to what I'm doing, do you like land on a pattern and you're like, oh, I think that this fleece would do really well for that pattern? Do you land on a pattern and you say, oh, I have to find a fleece? Because that is even, I have not even gone that far. I don't know. I think both ways. Anyway, I see a lot of pros and cons for both ways of doing things. The one thing I will say is I have a mild interest in rug making, and if I was going to make a rug, I would seek out a very specific fleece for that. I would probably look for a long wool to make the warp, because you need really strong warp, and you know, it doesn't matter if it's next to skin soft or not, because it's going to be on the floor. Your weft or your rug hooking material can be, but anyway, this has been spun. I'm just going to use my little hand as a nitty naughty. I'll do on my body like this. I had a great time with this little experiment, and what it has taught me is that the lanolin that is left over from my less than adequate scour actually helps a lot, especially in this second cut's shorter staple length. So if I find, as I'm continuing to scour the remainder of the fleece, that there are areas that have a lot more second cuts, then I may purposefully underscour them so that some of the lanolin is left in there to help with the actual spinning of the fiber. I do not like using waste yarn. I don't like wasting any yarn, basically. So instead of using waste yarn, what I do is I make my figure eights just with the yarn that I've produced. So there is my figure 8 on that side. I'm going to flip this over. And you can see it's not very balanced. It's curling up pretty immediately. But I think a wet set will help with that. And there we go. So this turned out pretty gray. It is a pretty gray. But turn it into little tiny skeins so you can see how it goes. So there is the tiny skein. Go away. My face needs to go away. It's hard for it to... There we go. You can see that candy striping sort of in the... right there in the yarn. This is really pretty to me. I will probably knit up a swatch of this, but I might wet set this. Proof of concept, though this works, I'm going to blender board my combing waste and be able to use even more of the fleece than I thought. There were some second cuts that were just too short, that they didn't even blender board. Like I think I pulled them aside when I was, yeah, here's a good example, I think. Like this little tiny bit is probably 3/4 of an inch about. That's just that I came upon it while I was spinning and I was like, there's no way that I am going to be able, like I could spin it in and potentially it would be the sort of floofy hangy out bit in the yarn. But then it, as I was drafting, it was sort of sunk out to the side. It didn't work very well. That's all. That's all I've got. Okay. Bye.